Hello, Forest Lake. It's good to be with you today. And today I wanted to chat a little bit about a text in Scripture from the book of Mark. And this is called the Transfiguration of Jesus Christ. This is the story where Jesus takes three of his disciples, Peter, James, and John, up to the top of a mountain, and he is transfigured. In other words, the glory of God radiates from Jesus himself. And it's a really important text. It helps us to understand and clarify the identity of Jesus, really, that he is not just a man, not just a prophet, not just a priest. He's also God himself, the second part of the Trinity. Now, what I find interesting about this particular text, or one of the many things, is how Peter reacts to seeing Jesus transfigured. He sees Jesus speaking with Elijah and Moses, and then Peter says to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up three shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." It seems as though Peter wanted to create a more permanent situation for Jesus and Elijah and Moses. But it also says in verse 6 that he did not know what to say. They were very frightened. So in the middle of experiencing this transfiguration of Jesus, Peter and the other two disciples were extremely frightened. And I think it's telling Peter's response in the midst of in the book of Matthew says his terror. He was terrorized. He wanted to do something. He wanted to accomplish something in the midst of not really knowing what to say and not knowing really what to do. And I think it's human nature. It's a great illustration of what we as humans so very often are want to do. We want to do work. We want to get things done, especially when we don't understand something or when our lives feel out of control. Doing work is one of the best ways we cope with a difficult situation. Now, what's interesting is after Peter says, "Let's build three shelters," the cloud ascends on top of the mountain, and the cloud very often is representative of the presence of God, and we see this on Mount Sinai in the book of Exodus. But a voice comes out from heaven, out of the cloud, and says, "This is my son whom I love, listen to him." And that voice is, of course, the voice of God the Father. And he's telling the disciples to listen to Jesus. And I think very often, especially in our culture and this area of the country, Minnesota is a place that's, I think takes a lot of pride in hard work. A lot of most of the people I know are very hard workers, very competent in their work, and that's a good thing. And the Bible talks about the wisdom in being a hard worker. If you're not a hard worker, the Bible talks about the fact that you could go hungry if you don't work hard. But there's also a problem with hard work and work in general. And the problem is that it can be deceptive. In other words, work isn't always the answer. And in this case, on the top of the Mount of Transfiguration, it's not the answer. Peter wants to do something. He wants to get something accomplished. And I see this in my own life. When COVID started about a year and a half ago, more than that, almost 2 years ago, like many churches, our church shut down for a little while, and we put our sermons and worship online. And it was a tough season for a lot, and not just in churches, of course, but it was tough for a lot of people. And one of the things that was so hard about it was there wasn't a lot to do. We had to slow things down. We couldn't do. We had to pause our programming. There wasn't a lot of I couldn't go out to meet people. There weren't a lot of meetings. It just was different. And I got to tell you, I was kind of a nervous wreck that whole time because I didn't know what I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, and I had to do something. I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what it was, and so I spent a great deal of time stressing and trying to find things to do. And at the end of the day, I don't know how much I have to show for all that stress and all that worry and all that work. I just know I worked hard, and there wasn't really a lot of fruit. It didn't seem anyway. So I think hard work and, having, a good job and having the respect of people and being financially stable, all those things are fine. They're not necessarily bad, but they can be deceptive. They're deceptive in the sense that we fall on them in times of stress, in times of struggle, as though those are the things that are going to pull us out. During COVID, I thought, maybe working hard would fix my worry that I wasn't doing enough. And one thing we know about the good news of Jesus Christ, what the gospel is essentially, is that it's a gift of grace given to us. It's nothing that we have earned. It's nothing that we have created. We didn't take it upon ourselves. It was given as a gift. In the book of Galatians, Paul even talks about this. He and I'm paraphrasing here. He says, "Why would you who accepted faith as a gift, why would you complete your faith using your own work?" It doesn't work like that. We receive our salvation as a gift of grace, and we live our life as a gift of grace as well. There's no more earning. There's no more striving. It's already been done. And sometimes, now, of course, I'm not saying there's no time for hard work. Obviously, we work hard and we follow opportunities when they arrive and when they come. But that's not what defines us as followers of Jesus. What defines us as a follower of Jesus is our willingness to be humble and to listen. And sometimes listening means we're not working. Sometimes listening means we actually are quiet, and we are listening and quietly living in obedience where we are right now. And again, it's this picture of Peter, this wonderful disciple who seems to get it wrong very often. What a blessing Peter is to so many of us, because we see ourselves in this man, and I certainly do at this point. God's call to us is to listen to Jesus. That's what we're called to do. It's that simple. It's not called to do more programming. It's not called to be the greatest whatever of whatever we are or of whatever we do. That's not what our calling is. Our calling is to listen. And so hopefully that was encouraging to you. That's been encouraging to me, that word. With that, have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the beginning of the Christmas season. With that, goodbye. You're blessed.